On Monday, President Biden will sign into law the largest federal investment infrastructure in more than a decade. The $1 trillion bill will be used to improve roads, bridges, and railways. It also funds internet improvements and efforts to strengthen our nation's resilience to climate change. There's a lot packed in here. Meanwhile, a companion social spending bill could go up for a vote next week. Joining us now to talk about both of these bills is Congresswoman Yvette Clarke. Her district covers Brooklyn. So, Congresswoman Clarke, thank you for being here, and good to have you on PIX11 Morning News.
Great to be with you, Dan. Thank you for having me.
So, Congresswoman, I want to get to the bipartisan infrastructure bill right here. What kind of improvements specifically will New Yorkers see from this, right? They hear the words infrastructure, they hear a lot of talk, but what will they see specifically?
Well, this is a transformational investment that we have made in New Yorkers and, from our roads and our bridges to our expansion of broadband to over 180,000 families that currently don't have access to broadband. The ways in which our lives will be transformed are going to be remarkable. We're talking about climate resiliency in my district. We were badly damaged by both Ida and Sandy several years ago. And we know that we need to make sure that our infrastructure can be resilient against climate change. All of that funding is already on its way to the desk of our president for signature next week.
Okay, so it can get complicated because these are two separate bills that we're talking about, right? So I want to break it down for our viewers who may not be as well versed in some of this as you and I are. But some lawmakers are calling the infrastructure fund specifically first to be used for things like capping the Cross Bronx Expressway, right? Making it more of a greener space to reduce some of the asthma rates for folks in the Bronx who have higher asthma rates than the rest of the country, really. Where do you stand on this?
Absolutely. One of the things that we were concerned about when we decided that we were going to make these investments were the communities that for generations have been subjected to what we consider to be environmental racism. And many of those communities, like in the Bronx, were disrupted by the building of the Cross Bronx Expressway, where communities were split in half.
Right.
What this investment will do is green the area so that all of the congestion that takes place on the Cross Bronx and the years that people have suffered living on either side of this roadway will have a greener future. And that's so very important going forward. It's about environmental justice.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, Robert Moses really...
It's just one example.
Of course, yeah, because Robert Moses built a highway literally between communities in the Bronx. I want to talk specifically about your district, right? So you represent parts of Brooklyn. Do you think that something like capping the BQE, for example, could be something? Can we see this happening elsewhere in some of your districts?
Absolutely. We're going to be looking at how we use these dollars to mitigate, again, environmental injustice. We know that the BQE is in need of real transitional rescaping, if you will. And this will provide the funding to our state and our municipality to make sure that, again, the communities that have borne the brunt of having this roadway go through it will be given the type of resource required in order to make sure that we can mitigate the damages of the CO2 emissions that come from all those trucks coming across the BQ.
So you are looking at the BQE as an example.
Absolutely.
So, a lot of folks were saying, well, they weren't going to vote on the social spending portion of the bill unless the infrastructure bill passed, and vice versa, right? They weren't going to vote on the infrastructure one either if the social spending bill didn't come to a vote. So what's happening here? What's the latest in terms of the next one moving forward in terms of a vote?
Well, as many folks may have heard, we were able to come to an agreement last week, Friday, where we've got a commitment beyond the infrastructure bill that we have just passed to complete the Build Back Better Act as requested by President Joe Biden, with a vote in this upcoming week on the Build Back Better Act, which has sort of the human infrastructure funding within it. I'm looking forward to that. It's a game changer for this generation and future generations to come. It takes into account not only the pandemic that we are navigating our way through and how it's impacted our
Yeah.
families and laid bare the disparities that have taken place in healthcare, in housing, in childcare, and elder care, but it also sets us forward with even more robust funding
Right.
to make sure that we address climate change,
Yeah.
which is, one of those imminent threats before
Congresswoman,
us.
climate change, child care, affordable housing, immigration reform, all just some of the topics. We're almost out of time here, only have a few seconds left, but I do want to get your take on some of the Democrats, 6 Democrats who voted against the infrastructure bill. Have you had conversations with them about moving forward now on the Build Back Better portion?
Well, I know that these individuals wanted to be assured that we would get that commitment from those who wanted to see the infrastructure bill move forward first. We've gotten that commitment. And so I feel confident that we will have all hands on deck to vote out the Build Back Better Act this week coming up to make sure that we have a complete and robust, holistic approach to the 21st century and transforming the communities and the
Great.
society in which we live.
All right, we, of course, will stay on top of it. It was great to have you here, Congresswoman Clarke. Thanks for being on the PIX11 Morning News. Appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next week, hopefully, as well, when this goes to a vote.
Look forward to it, Dan. Thanks for having me.
All right.